Ajit Doval. As Anand was pointing out, NSA Doval met CIA Director William Burns yesterday. The inside details we put out for you. America wants meaningful security relationship with India post the Taliban takeover in Afghanistan. William Burns wanted India to play a major role in sharing intelligence in the region, and specifically after their leaving. Further sources indicate that Americans want India to share the maximum possible ground intelligence. Americans also want India to give shelter to some more Afghans. Anand Narasimhan continues to be with us on the broadcast. Anand, what kind of partnership with US that India can look forward to?
Well, this will be intelligence and security, and with Pakistan no longer there as somebody who the Americans can depend on, they want somebody to have their ears on the ground, and the ears on the ground for the US now is going to be India in this region. And perhaps nations have now realized that the strategic importance that India holds in this region, because India is independent of any external, acts on them. Neither do we, and strategically, neither do we covet Afghanistan territory, nor do we want to wage a proxy war on another nation. We are only interested in ensuring there is stability in the region. People of India are secure, and the people of Afghanistan continue to have the kind of benefits that India has helped them get in terms of development, peace, and progress. And that's why we are seeing these concerns that have been raised. America wants India to accommodate certain Afghan citizens and also give them refuge and give them place. But the fact is, India will have to take a considered position here, and we'll have to see how the other nations in the region respond, on whom the responsibility directly falls. But in terms of intelligence gathering, in terms of trying to give a security update in this region, both Russia and America are now going to heavily lean on India.
Anand, as you point out that both Russia and America are going to heavily lean on India, we still have to see that as far as the Western world is concerned, who gives any degree of legitimacy to Taliban. And India so far has taken a very cautious approach when it comes to the so-called government of New Taliban. What do you sense will be the strategy forward of the Indian government in terms of dealing with Taliban? Whether we recognize them or not, we will have to deal with them.
The fact is that it is going to be on a case-to-case engagement basis purely on humanitarian grounds. There are only three aspects which India wants to focus on. The humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan, if there is a problem of food, if there is a problem of basic supplies, if there is a problem of medicines, these are things where India is happy to help the people of Afghanistan. And whether or not the Taliban agree with it is a different point. But the fact is, can you refuse humanitarian aid? Can you refuse food and wheat grains? Can Pakistan provide them with that? No, they can't. It's India that will do it. The other aspect is safety of the assets that we have built, which are developmental projects, including the Salma Dam, which is for the people of Afghanistan. Now, that is again an assurance that they have got that these assets and these projects will not be hampered, and India is welcome to come back and finish these projects eventually in due course of time. Thirdly is that Afghanistan should not be used as a terror operating base to orchestrate a proxy war on India and to conduct terror attacks on India. So these are the three aspects where we are focusing right now. There is no question of recognizing this government, which is itself stands proscribed by the UN. And the nations of the world have not yet recognized. Why should India rush to recognize? India is not going to rush to recognize. But yes, India is going to rush to the aid and help, humanitarian aid and help of the people of Afghanistan.
A case-to-case basis, and clearly more importantly, the humanitarian work and aid that India has traditionally maintained in Afghanistan. That's the pitch that we will continue. We're once again shifting our focus to the kind of engagement NSA Ajit Doval is having with the Russian counterparts. Some more details. We're also putting out these first pictures of the meeting between NSA and the Russian counterpart. These are the inside track details of this crucial meeting with the Russians, meeting to review the political, security and humanitarian situation in Afghanistan. Also the activities of various terrorist groups, including JEM and LET. Both countries share similar concerns as we've been talking. Anand continues to be with us on the broadcast. Maha Siddiqui is also joining us, our Foreign Affairs Editor. Maha, a perspective from you, what kind of cooperation can we expect from the Russians?
So basically now with the changed situation in Afghanistan, India and Russia are both stressing on the fact that there has to be greater consultation between the two sides as far as the security aspect is concerned in the region. And remember, when the Prime Minister had a conversation with Vladimir Putin, it was decided in that conversation that mechanism will be created specifically for the situation in Afghanistan between India and Russia. So this is a follow-up on that. It's a very short visit that is being made by the Russian NSA, but a very crucial one, Anusha, because he's meeting the NSA in the morning, and late in the second half, he'll be meeting with the External Affairs Minister in the evening. He'll also be calling on the Prime Minister. The focus will clearly remain on Afghanistan. These consultations, as sources are pointing out, are a reflection of the importance and potential for significant increase in both the political and security cooperation between India and Russia over the issue of Afghanistan, and specifically over the issue of terrorism, which day before yesterday, in fact, even the Russian ambassador to India had pointed out that that is the common meeting ground in the situation for both India and Russia, because both countries have concerns over terrorism spilling out of Afghanistan into their territory, which they need to control. And also building pressure on the Taliban to stick to their promises.
Ma, then how does one understand the other position, if I may say so, taken by the Russians, the fact that their embassy is operational? If I'm correct, that Russia is also one of the country which has been invited to the swearing in of this new government, in the words how Taliban really put it out.
Yes, their embassy remains open, and that had given an impression to the world, the fact that they are willing to engage with Taliban. So they have not ruled that out. They have said that we will engage, but they have drawn that line between engaging with Taliban and recognizing Taliban. They have done it quite firmly, and they have been sticking to that line, saying that while it is a necessity to continue some sort of a conversation or have channels of communication open with Taliban, because now they are at the helm of affairs in Afghanistan, there is no way out for any other country to not talk to them. But if and only if their claims match their actions on the ground, which is with regards to inclusive and representative government, which in the first go we haven't seen at all. It is neither inclusive nor representative. Other aspects as well, giving rights to women to work, for education, and certain parameters that we've been pointing out, Anusha, over the last few weeks.
One more point, if you can elaborate this on. The fact that a lot of globally designated terrorists are part of that so-called government in Afghanistan. What kind of role can countries like Russia play in that entire semantics of how this really looks like to be? If you are a globally designated terrorist, does that list have no meaning? Russia wants to engage, but will it engage with terrorists? And this is the same question that perhaps US is also going to face.
Absolutely. And these are P5 countries, the permanent 5 countries. Their responsibility as far as the UN designations and also the designation of terrorists there under the 1267 Sanctions Committee and other committees where many of the people who are in the government of Taliban are listed. What happens to that? That's a question that these P5 countries will have to answer.
All right, Ma, thank you so much for getting us all that perspective. Lots more to talk about this.